the 10 o'clock hour.
I know. I'm working on not getting too stressed out and making outlines and stuff about the show.
Well, no, you could make the outline sometimes.
Well, no, I still will when I have time. What it really is just the bandwidth. Like there's just not enough time in the day. That I have so much going on.
Well, plus you work full time.
Yeah. Well, the work is the thing too. Is there's a guy that's been gone since May. He's coming back this week, and I have had all of his work and my work, and then they gave vacations to people. But I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm fairly excited about that. So,
do you get vacation time?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of vacation time.
Why don't you use it?
What's that?
Just use it. Stay home.
That's what I'm doing. I'm taking a day off a week to as daycare because I can't get daycare.
Oh, nice. That's nice though.
Yeah,
you'll never get that time back.
Oh yeah, and if we can just get into a routine, it's going to be really nice.
Yeah, like you should do. Like this is what I used to do when I had Leo every Friday. We would take the dog for a walk, hit Dunkin' Donuts up, and then we would go to a playground.
Mm-hmm.
And then by 12, we would come back, have lunch, and then nap time.
Yeah, that's exact. I mean, I had her at the Billy B's one.
Oh, nice.
Thursday. It's like a jumping gym thing, and she wants to go to all those things, and because I can finally go and I have the time, I just have to find one that's open during the school year at hours, like school hours. This is all the ones in the mall and around here.
Well, is there any good outdoor parks?
Yeah, there are, and I've taken her to. Well, good is a relative term. There's actually an amazing one here in town that we go to. We call it the zip line one, but it's down in Buzzards Bay.
Oh yeah, I took Leo to one where it was like almost like one of those roller coaster rides where you're gonna go upside down, but you just so that you hook them up in that seat, and then it's probably like I want to say 60 feet or maybe 30 feet. So 30. Then you launch. Yeah, they're in like a seat, and you launch them.
Yeah. They have two of those there, and they're probably 15 to 30 feet, something like that. And so she likes that. But we had we had rain.
Rain.
We had rain.
Rain's not cool, or if it's really cold.
Well, I mean, anyway, she is tough, but we should talk about the book and KMS. I feel bad. I feel bad about both.
What do you mean?
About like not having clips and things like that, but I did watch.
Dude,
I know. I know. I put too much pressure on myself about that.
That's okay. Nobody. I mean, as long as you're having fun, that's all I care about.
Well, I am, and I'm enjoying the book, and that brings us to the book, which is why we're here.
No, this is like a marathon.
Yeah. Well, that's it. But
to be fair, it is like a 700-page book. So,
well, and to be fair, it's like a life-changing event for me as well.
Right.
So, I mean, and maybe you had, an inkling of that, which is why it was the second book in this sort of adventure.
Well, I mean, I figured like once I read the first chapter, like it was powerful for me, and I'm, so just like
so
in different ways.
So multiple things slowed us down. I think you're a little bit ahead of me. I'm onto a part where he's interviewing the guy that wrote Rain Man. Right. Okay. That's where I am too. But I think I just started the chapter, and it sounded like just from going back and forth that you were well into it. But it's so just before that is sort of was an emotional roller coaster ride for me. And I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, if that's how it's written. Like, I just really connect with the characters. And then, not the bad guys. So what happens is we had last week.
That would be really funny if
I connected with
you were like, you totally, I am autistic, but he was right. That's how you should control me.
Well, so I have a lot of mixed feelings about the whole thing, and we'll get to that eventually. But we finished up last week with Rosa, Shannon actually, Rosa's
Shannon.
last name, and
thinking People's Guide to Autism.
And she was part of these groups that started to get together. And in the book, we start talking about it. Now, you know what's funny? It's hard, and I wanted to talk about it. The way the author writes is not chronological, and that is really difficult it's really tough for me to read and sort of follow because he keeps jumping around.
But you know what I noticed? I have some, or I thought about that, and it's he doesn't want to just keep boring us with the medical and that kind of stuff. So he goes to these other stories of heartwarmingness.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Not even boring as much as it's
intense.
It's a drudge. Yeah, it's terrible. Like if there's parts you want to skip, like skip the Nazis, and then anytime the Nazis come back into it, no matter how you look at it.
And if you're thinking of putting your kid in a traditional discrete trial ABA program, you should read the Lovis chapter.
Well, yeah. So, that's the thing, and so he gets into it. So that's where we're at. And Lovis is the founder, I guess, or father of ABA.
Well, so he really was like into behavioralism, and so I think then he started to modify it to basically train people like dogs.
Yeah. Well, as much as you can, because this is sort of a passion area for you as well. Just talk about sort of him. It's like, so the book talks about him, gives you a real good foundation of who he is. And really, I don't know that I ever liked him. Like with
never.
But with Canner,
like there was like a quote that the author talked about where this is how arrogant the guy was. He said he could have.
He's in Boyd's Life talking about the girl that he adopts, and in Boy's Life magazine, he's doing an interview, and he's very pleased that he's discovered that smacking her, not just smacking her works, smacking her kind of works, but if you really lay into her and make sure she knows you're going to kill her, then you get something accomplished.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean,
so that's like that really.
But the thing about it that shocks me is the way he talks is like he thinks it's normal and it's okay.
Yeah, and
it's disgusting.
So is that pervasive before that in that time period? And
if you think about like the Cantors, they weren't into behavioralism. They were into the more Freudian stuff. So they didn't go that far as to say like hitting them, but they didn't hold them in the same regard, a nice regard. And the thing I was attributing to was he said, this is how arrogant he was, that he could have saved Hitler from being Hitler if he got to him at 4.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's, and so... And it just gets darker and darker as
like how he set up these two boys that were these twins that were horrible or had behaviors. And so he set up electrical current so that the room would be electrified, so that if they did what they weren't supposed to, they would get shocked.
Wednesday, I didn't. Why? No. Hit the post wants to know if anybody reported colostomy, which I love that name. I've always loved that name. No, I didn't. He was giving me a little bit of shit this morning or this afternoon about something.
I don't know who that is.
It was one of my tweets. Oh, I don't know. But I mean, I know I didn't report on it. Yeah. I think he's hilarious. I really like him. Anyways, so
he set up like a
darker and darker, and he is, and the way that the author writes about it too is he's excited about it, like he's really getting into it.
It's sadistic in a way.
You're left to wonder. Well, you're just left to wonder what the hell is going on. And this guy, as we talk about this, so he's doing this into the 70s and into the 80s, and then he so all of the stuff that he comes up with starts a field, a very important field, actually, again, in my life, it turns out. But they took a lot of the discrete trials, a lot of the rewards, especially for the very, very severe kids. Those things seemed to work, and it became an industry, a career.
And, yeah, and like the research now is showing that the people who went through those sort of severe ones, the discrete trials when they were younger, they're the ones that are very like college educated now that people will listen to are saying it was like traumatic. And and there's a lot of like people that they say PTSD.
Well, before I interrupted you, you were going into the boys. So he gets, we should say, the way he's able to develop all of these things is he winds up almost adopting this girl that is whatever at the time. You know, it was clearly autistic, and she's very self-abusive. And he wound up beating her because she kept bashing his head. And he incorporates into his lecture, into his paper, and then into his lectures that she deliberately finds the sharpest corners to bash her heads on.
Yeah, that's to save his ass.
Despite him.
Yeah.
You just keep hating him more and more, and then he meets
this guy George Wrecker, I think his name is, and they sort of convinced the federal government to give them funding to do this experiment. They called it the Sissy Boy experiment. It was basically utilizing the same thing he developed for ABA, but for guys that have homosexual thoughts. And these aren't these are 9-year-olds.
Yeah, I was gonna say the worst part is
one of them killed themselves.
Not one of them, like his star, the one he wrote papers on. So like both of these guys who just loved each other, like took their star experiment and ran them into the ground. Literally,
like what they wrote the papers on for that.
Yeah, both of them. And
Rigger, he would do like these things where he would earn chips.
I warned you about that. What do you want?
He would earn chips if he picked like a football helmet.
Like
a blue chip.
So the discrete trials for the Sissy Boy camp, they had a big table and they would lay out what they considered girl toys and what they considered boy toys. And they would. I shouldn't laugh. This is horrifying. I mean,
that's why we're laughing because because we're uncomfortable about it.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. So they would and they had with the was it the twins? They had the mom come in and would neglect him and turn away and say mean things to him if he grabbed girl toys and
it was basically like prescribed bullying.
That stuff doesn't seem like stuff that like scientists or PhDs or even in like 100, 200 years ago would have been like, that's the stuff they were kicking around. And I understand that what we're talking about are severe.
Up until the 70s, they still thought of homosexuality as a disease. So so that's where they were earning money for sort of placating that and like.
Oh, absolutely. And I wasn't, and please don't get me wrong, I'm speaking of the processes that Lavash was using and how they got adopted, not the camp or anything like that.
Yeah.
But anyways,
it's hard to process because it's like you can't believe it was going on.
But you know what you can believe was going on is that the guy that started up the Pray Your Gay Away camps, the guy that wrote the paper on it, the guy got like in 19.
Like some executive or investigative journalist was at an airport and he was coming home with a Filipino like escort, and then I think his excuse was he was just a data scientist.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I certainly don't want to get in trouble. It sounded like, I mean, like, I guess he's probably dead now, but he was still alive into the 2000s. They had.
Yeah, I mean, conversion therapy had a boom in the 90s and early 2000s. Like
that's right, and like it actually does tie into the KMS because like early 2000, well, middle 2000s, maybe late 2000. No, I guess it was. But when Reamer was on, they I think they tried to get the guy. They tried to get a a pastor that ran one of those camps to like call in, or maybe it was like a fake guy that called in. I can't remember now. It was pretty funny, whatever it was. But
anyway. I don't remember that. But
it was before like before your time, so to speak, I would guess, because you came in right when he had the mental issues or the time.
Right.
Yeah, this
but I mean, conversion therapy is just like it's banned in most states now. I even think maybe Florida it's not fully banned, but it's like there's a lot of states where like up until 2011, like Mike Pence was worked for like.
Did you watch the documentary that was out like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago? I watched it with my wife, and like they snatched up these kids, and like the kids went to bed and they woke up on planes like with bags over their heads. Some of them. I mean, I might be being a little bit hyperbolic, but like it's horrifying, and
that's where like religion can be messy, because it's these people that get power, sort of, or like, and they're not even smart people, you know.
Yeah, I don't even have a religious.
That's what I attributed it to. It's like these people who are leaders in churches, and they're just like whatever they say, people will follow.
I can understand how somebody changes. That's easy enough to understand. But I don't understand how, like, these monsters that Dugard guy.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
right. Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. And even, I mean, like, you know, like get back, and they didn't talk about the BTK killer too much in the book we read before. Criminal Minds book.
Him too. Yeah.
Like that I have a lot of trouble understanding like that.
Well, in those cases, it's like with Dugard, you think he really would be a Christian if his family wasn't?
No, of course not. Right. Well, I mean,
that's
like,
what the thing is. You know, and BTK had to because of the community he lived in. He had to like.
Yeah,
it was like his cover.
Yeah, but yeah, and it's why is it? You know, we were talking about this, you know, offline, so to speak. But why is it always the small town churches too, or churches in general?
Because nobody else is around to ask questions.
I guess so. So, anyways, that's where we find ourselves.
And I told you, I think in the text, I like Ed Kemper better than Lovos.
Oh yeah. I do know, and in fact, like the further I get away from Ed Kemper, the more I like him. I don't know. That's probably the way the author, you know,
because he likes him.
Because and he puts him throughout the book too. But it's fair enough either way. And these two guys, they just keep making money. I mean, even at the end, they're both sort of so. Lovos sees the light and winds up still being a hero to everybody. And you know what terrible message that comes out of this book is they all see the light at the end and wind up like getting cheered. Like Canner apologizes to the families for blaming them and does this big speech, and the parents all sort of no. Or you?
Oh no! I know. I'm shaking my head like it's
yeah. And then
that shit won't slide nowadays.
You know, I guess maybe it's just sort of history.
Well, yeah, and it's also
shining a light on the good stuff and not the bad stuff. And this
like if there's ever ABA that was created today, Twitter would be all over it. You know, and so like back then it was like you had to go to your library to take out the medical journal that they wrote a report in. When
I talk about it's tough to get through the Lovos stuff, he's downright giddy about cattle prod when he discovers cattle prods, like because before the cattle prods he was wiring the floor of the cell of the twins with aluminum foil strips to electrocute them. I can't even remember. So if
they tried, it's like what we have on my dog, like
now
an electric fence.
Now, are these the same two that are doing the prime numbers? So as the chapter ends and we run into,
I think so.
So as the chapter ends and we run into this guy, who the movie Rain Man is based around. there's this other gentleman that starts working with the twins and recognizes that one of the things that they're doing, I don't know if it's the same twins, but working with twins, and they're going back and forth with these giant.
You know who else like to work with twins?
What's that?
Dr. Mingle, I like to work with twins too.
No, this is the good guy at the end as he transitions over into.
And you know who started off as a good guy, but then ended up looking like a piece of shit? Was that the Navy guy?
Well, how's he end up looking like a piece of shit?
Because he ends up like like he was like a big time spokesperson for Low Boss.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so what happened to him? You're right, and it's the vitamins. He got hooked on the vitamins thing, but what the author really does show, and what I kind of lived just sort of through. No,
I like I like the Navy guy, but I did not care for him. Not like, yeah,
right, and but what that illustrates and what's going on in the book, and at that time, and I guess that's sort of early 70s to mid 70s, is this like this sort of fight within the community about everything, They've had these charlatans that have come in with the vitamins, but then some of the vitamin stuff works, and then I gotta say, like, so you hit the Nazi stuff, and then you hit all the science stuff. It's kind of tough. It's tough to chug through, and then you get to those stories, the stories that I sort of relate to,
like the Clavendashes and
yeah, but the newer people, like the kids that are doing the prime numbers and stuff. Again, I do apologize.
You'll like the new stories. So good.
Yeah. Well, with Billy, and that's where I'm at. And without a doubt, no matter what happens, I'm finishing the book.
Me too.
Yeah. There's only like,
I'm feeling like I have to, like, when I have interns, I have to sort of encourage them to read it too if they're going to be working with these folks.
Yeah. But so that's sort of where we're at with the book. Is there anything else that's jumped out? I mean, other than, like I said, those things were really emotional, but I can't even remember them at the moment. And it's best. It's just the stories and I know what it was, and I wrote it down.
I love watching your brain work. Sort of.
It's those 9 Creek points. That's what got me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to pull those up, but it's like, if I was.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. So, like, self-stimulation was one. Like stemming.
That sounds terrible. It's not what it means.
Yeah. But no. So like stemming, where they'll often rock. That's like the stereotypical one. Or they'll do other things. Those need to be distinguished because they embarrass the parents. That was
yeah. But it's so great because, like, if I was still dating, that's what I would use in my profile. Might as well. Like, I mean, like, other than there was like a couple towards the end with like really severe kids that didn't. There's a few that don't fit, but out of the 9, I'd say 8 are like, it's pretty spot on. I wanted to pull them up. That was one thing I was going to do, is get those and pull them up and look at them and kind of explore them. But it's a little too close to home, I thought, for me at least.
Yeah. I was getting angry because it was like, basically what that says is, right, this is maybe I'm getting a little grandiose, but basically taking the autistic identity away.
Yeah, well,
trying to get rid of all of the autism.
Yeah,
not to show it.
Oh yeah, and that's actually sort of where I was finishing, and then they roll into Billy. Is that's you need to go, you can go. I'll chat. Oh, okay. That's actually that's still what they're trying to do. That's still at this point in the book and at this point in history, so to speak, late 70s, 80s. Actually, there's still. I think there's organizations, cure autism, and I don't know. Like, you start to get like, you're starting to really get into the weeds, into the science, and they're talking about PDK, which is, I don't think they even classify that as autism anymore.
No, PDD-NOS. PDD. So it was like, pervasive developmental disorder. So what it was basically like childhood autism.
No, I'm talking about it's something because of some type of lack of a nutrient or deficiency.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can test it in the blood.
Yeah, and because of that guy, the Navy guy, they were able to like get rid of that sort of
right. Well, they were able to.
That
they
developmental
finally were
disability.
able to sort of, and it was because of all the vitamins they were giving the kid or whatever was creating these crystals. They looked at what the crystals were in the urine or something, and they realized, oh
shit,
yeah, this is what's doing it. And I think that like that. So certainly in third world countries or something, it has benefited the lives of millions and millions of kids. And I guess it presents exactly like what we call autism nowadays, I guess. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I guess I have to learn a lot more about it before I feel very comfortable talking about it. But that was interesting on the show today. The gentleman that came out on the podcast, they were talking about that Joey Castellano on the
he said he came out.
Yeah, that's what I call it. That's what I told you. My wife is calling it. So
did you know that about him? Did you read his blog? I sent it to
you. You sent me his blog. I didn't read it yet. I'm going to read it though, and I want to watch. Blog. And I want to listen to the podcast of the woman that was diagnosed older that Shannon mentioned. So, and I'm going to actually. That's the thing. That's what I started the show off with is this bandwidth thing. Like I got to just get a little bit more time. And that's coming. I can see it.
You should get rid of one episode a week of what's his name?
Listening to the show. Yeah, but see, that's the thing is that I'm driving. It's like it's in the car, and I'm stuck in that traffic all the time.
Glenn Beck. Get rid of Glenn Beck and listen to that.
I know what you were trying to say. I know what you're trying to say. He's something else. But and then
let's. I do want to talk about that Matt Walsh thing.
Yeah, well, go ahead. I didn't see much of it other than what you sent me. And like I said, I think he's not being hypocritical. I think he was being bombastic and maybe being illustrating the absurd by being absurd.
Yeah, I think that's you're right, but it is still an asinine thing he said.
When I really took Twitter seriously, I would follow and unfollow him constantly because he's very provocative and he's very smart. But he's almost he's a uncouth version. You know what he is? He's a less enjoyable version of Rush Limbaugh. Yeah. Is what he is. Not as smart, not as good, but that's what he's doing.
He seems like he's just saying things that he knows are smart. He doesn't sound.
I don't know. I think he's smart. I think he's really smart. I think
but he doesn't believe them. I don't know.
I think he believes them. Some people. I agree with you about some people, but I think most of the people at the Daily Wire believe what they say.
What about Candace Owens?
No, I don't think so. I think you're right. So okay, the top tier, the top the Andrew Klavan. I'm not even. I wouldn't even put Michael Knowles in that category. Klavan, Shapiro, and Walsh. Klavan, Shapiro, Walsh, and maybe
Laura with them now.
No, I don't know, but that's about it from there. I should take that back. Like when I started listening to them, that's all I listened to was those guys, and that's all they had.
Yeah, because Candace Owens is totally crocked.
I think she's phony too. She feels very phony. Like you know what it is, and I've been thinking about that because of Jerry, because I've been listening to Jerry a lot. I think that they're just amplified versions of themselves, and I just like the original version better.
Well, Candace Owens, you mean Jerry?
I'm talking about Jerry. That's what I came about with Jerry, but I think that's what's going on with a lot of these, especially the conservative. But I mean, even on the liberal side, a lot of these people that their character is just a little bit.
Well, there's nobody that's famous like them on the liberal side.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a big run with the Young Turks people. Like there was a bunch of guys on there. That was sort of that level and sort of that same thing that Shanghai Shanger the guy who got the money to start. I think it was the Young Turks.
And then there's that whole Herschel Walker shit that came out.
What's that?
The Herschel Walker stuff.
So did you follow that very closely?
Because I was watching it, because like his son was the one.
That's what I'm asking about.
His son felt weird. It felt real to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like,
what did he say though? I never heard.
Oh, he basically said that he never really wanted to be part of it, and that like Herschel Walker is lying, and he's done like holding water for him, and the pain that he said that they had to move 6 times in 6 months because the dad was just so crazy.
Okay, so does that get you?
And then he also said that his dad paid for the abortion and has 4 kids.
Did you hear the latest on that though?
What?
That it was the person that the Daily Beast has, and that the evidence that they have is from one of the children that he's already admitted to. One of the women that he has children.
His son's mother.
Yeah, well then there's a lot of reasons why he would give her $700 and send her a get well card too. And it doesn't have to be about an abortion. And if she's already shown willing to have a kid, I don't know.
No, it wasn't her. No, she talked to the woman.
Oh, is that what it is? Is she talking?
Yeah,
so,
and then
so the Daily Beast doesn't even. It's secondhand from.
I don't think it's second. It's not secondhand because, I mean,
I didn't know enough about it. I can't. This is on what I.
Yeah, but do you think Herschel Walker's like he said at one point that he ran like 6 hospitals?
Yeah, listen, I don't think he's a great candidate either. I'm not arguing for him. I'm just saying that I don't think that the Daily Beast did crossed all their T's and dotted all their I's.
Yeah, well, a lot of news stations.
Nobody, they all rush, and you know what? It's all terrible nowadays. Too. I don't like. Yeah, I don't. I watched The Five. I like that show. And that's about it.
I miss the fat guy from The Five, the lib that they had.
He was good. He was drunk. The guy was drunk. You know why he left, right? Like I heard he was like really handsy with some of the females there or something.
Yeah,
he was drunk though. That much I do know. Like that's on that. Like that was like.
You could tell.
Yeah. But yeah, I did.
And then Juan, what's his name? Williams sucked.
Juan Williams, I love.
He couldn't fight. The other guy could fight.
Yeah, I liked Juan. I always liked Juan from even back when he was on the panel with Tony Snow. When Tony Snow hosted like the 6 o'clock show that Britt Hume took over forever, and now Bret Baier has.
Yeah. Do you I thought it was funny when Shattuck was talking on the Kirk show about how much he was mad at Jake Tapper.
Oh, I thought everything. I was gonna tweet at him today because he was tweeting about how much weight he lost and stuff. And he's always been so good natured about like taking the fat jokes and stuff. But
yeah, didn't have the time. Did you listen to the Matante episode yet?
No, but I do like
an hour and 40.
I'm going to listen to it, and I'm really starting to like him on Jerry's show. Like, yeah. I don't understand. He doesn't go into politics or even more to the point, like Jerry just doesn't play along with anything ever. And it's frustrating.
I like Montante because he asks good questions.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I really like him in that spot.
He was good with you.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to kind of follow his gambling and hit the posts gambling, and then just micro bet with both of them. But and then set up like an Excel spreadsheet. But I bet you they'll do it themselves anyways. And I know hit the post will.
Well, pretty soon we'll be able to follow along easily.
Why is that?
Because it got legalized in Mass.
Oh, I see what you. Oh yeah. I want to make a website for the Five, the network that I'm on, that we're on. And I'm still planning on it. In fact, I have that up right now on these other 2 computers. It's not exactly that. I'm just trying to build the web server for some other stuff, but I'm going to put that on there.
Fancy.
If I can get it done like within a day or two, but I don't know.
Yeah, the shows just jumping on the shows, there's nothing that really stood out. I always think it's funny when like other folks like Big Cat who listens was saying how good Mike's been, and Kirk's like, don't do that. Why are you doing that?
Yeah, but he sounded just like us.
It was really funny when Kirk goes, "Why don't you have him on part of my take then?"
Oh yeah, and it got dead silent. You can feel the air just leave the room. And that's I have a few takes on this week. I really like Rico Bosco, and I loved him taking his shot at the end of the.
Is it because he's a Devereaux Eagle too?
Oh, so it's DeVry, okay? It's DeVry, and he told people where he went to college the same exact way I tell people where I went to college. So I mean, I absolutely love this guy now. Like I was sold on him way before that, but I didn't go to the one in Boston or in New Jersey, which were very much defunct early on. I went to the one in Columbus, which was fully accredited, and I got my engineering degree in electrical engineering from them in 3 years. And it was a crash course. I started with 200 engineers or whatever, people starting freshman class. Out of that class, I graduated with 3 other people that did the program all the way through from start to finish in the 3 years that they lay out the day you started. But there was a bunch, like my best friend finished it 2 years later. And there's a ton of people that finished it. They just took their time, which I should have done.
It's sort of like, seems like how you live life.
Yeah, kind of is.
You can't be bored.
Yeah, I guess when it's all over, I won't feel too bad about it. I suppose that's why I do it that way.
Yeah.
So that was one point. Was I really like Rico.
And I like Jeff DeLoe.
Yeah, I don't know. He was okay. I had a lot of trouble discerning. So I could pick Rico Bosco's voice out, but then as they started shuffling other people through, I was having a lot of trouble telling the difference. I have like bad ears for that stuff.
Oh, do you? Yeah. Do you listen to the dozen?
I don't. Again, when it comes to the Barstool stuff,
you lose a click because you don't watch Kirk's dozen.
I haven't. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. So again,
he was on Rundown today with that guy Joey Camasta that I love.
See, that's the thing is all of that stuff. Is it aggregated at that at the Cullinane Kirk Menahan website or somewhere? Because that's
I'll send you the because they put it on podcast form at the end of the night, so I can send you.
But what I'm saying is, why isn't there a Minifan that aggregates all of the stuff that he's doing throughout Barstool? Because I don't follow any of that stuff. I don't know.
Well, do you follow the show account? Because it posts on that show account.
Yeah, of course I follow it, but I need to set it up for like.
Kirk's the only one I have notifications on for.
So, yeah, I got to turn those back on. It's just that was so tough. So with my old account, I had those notifications on, and that's that's. I don't know if that still works. Does it still work where if the notification comes through and then they delete it, you still get the notification, you still see the tweet?
Yeah,
because that was fantastic, and that's how I would always get all the inside scoops with the Kirk stuff. Is have the notifications on for both of those accounts. But it's just relentless sometimes, and I can't with work and stuff. Yeah,
well, with Kirk, he's been doing.
Kirk wasn't bad. You're right about that. I should just turn those back on.
But yeah, that's how I found it. And that Joey Camasta is really funny. He does that Out and About podcast with Pat.
Yeah,
he's really funny.
I know the Out and About. Yeah. Well, I say I have to try it all, but I got to.
I actually haven't finished listening to it. I wonder if Kirk confronts him about not getting tickets to the show.
Yeah, that was a big diss for a friend, right? That's interesting too.
Oh, and they're doing a live show at the House of Blues on the 29th of.
Right, and did you hear that Kirk's going to do something before it, maybe, or that's what he's saying?
Yeah.
By the way, wait, so was Kirk on the run? Kirk was on the rundown, huh?
Yeah, he was hosting.
Oh, he was hosting. Oh, he was host. Is that what he said in the show today?
Yeah.
I know he said he was going to be on it. I didn't know he said he was hosting it.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Well, I'm watching that.
He's one of the panelists.
Oh, one of the panelists. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I thought. That's what I figured. I'll probably watch that if he was like.
Yeah. Well, so it's Jeff DeLoe, and him and Joey Camasta.
Okay, I'll watch it. I'll find it. I'll get to it. Especially now because I have some free. I really do have some.
It isn't in podcast form too.
Yeah,
so you could listen to it in the car.
I'm going to eventually get this into podcast form. I have lots of
yeah, that was another Menner's suggestion.
Well, you know what I think I'm going to do is I grabbed everything off of StreamYard, and I think what I might do is put it into a podcast form. I have to get over listening to myself and how cringy and embarrassing it feels. But if I could do that and sort of cut them up and maybe serialize them and then just keep going as we go. Like
maybe if we do electric shock therapy every time you shut it off when you're trying to listen to it.
I mean, like I was trying to just get through the thing last week so that I could get it up like with some graphics, and having to hear my own voices. That's rough. How do they do that? Like
I can do it.
Yeah, I guess some people can do it. I know I can't. In fact, I'm so aware of it right now because I'm talking about it that I can hear it. It's not great.
My son likes watching himself on the video.
Well, I don't mind watching myself too much anymore. I probably would have 2 years ago.
I would love to see drunk Biodude videos.
I'm glad.
Would that be hard for you to watch?
What's that?
Would that be hard for you to watch?
Yeah, probably. I have a couple good drunk mug shots though. I have a great one from Shrewsbury.
You got arrested a few times? No. You got arrested?
I've been arrested 3 times.
Drunk driving?
No, God no. It was a bar fight though. I got thrown out of the bar, and I let my jacket and my keys were in it, and I had just moved to Worcester, and I was drunk, really drunk, and I lived on Main Street, right downtown, and I was at Tammany Hall, which is just a block away. I walked to Shrewsbury trying to find my apartment, my condo. That's a hall. And so I fell on some ice over by the bridge that crosses over from Worcester.
You got drunk tanked.
Yeah, I got drunk tanked. Yeah, that one was a drunk tank. Yeah, overnight though, and it was so funny because I had long hair, and he had to like come over because I was handcuffed and everything. He had to kind of to take the mug shot, like flip it all away. I've always thought that picture's got to be awful, just awful. But I mean, you do things
now. Look at you now.
Well, you know what, and that gets back to an interesting thing. Like,
I put my social work hat back on.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, I think that there's, part of that drinking was trying to regulate something that was like the ADHD. Really, I mean, I think that's
was that. So that was before you found weed.
Well, so the weed thing is like I smoked from like maybe 20 until 28 or whenever I got the job that I have now, and then I just sort of stopped. But and I legalized it. What's that?
But then you were like, I can just drink. I'll just drink instead.
Well, yeah, right. And my thing is like I have a good job and an important job, and like it was against the law, so I just stayed away from it really much because of that. And then when I tried to get back into it,
can I go back to like it makes sense because that's a rule.
And right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That is it too. And I've thought about that. In recent days, I've thought about that as well. So, anyways, yeah, that was my drunk take experience. Why did we bring that up?
Clip it. Hit the post. Well, not in a bad way. That's actually a good story.
Yeah,
that would make a good reel.
Yeah. Well, I have a couple pretty good stories. Did I tell you about the time I was? I guess maybe better to say detained at Fort Knox. I think I must have said.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, yeah. And what was the third
Or
time?
like you had no time.
Oh, yeah. The third time was about weed. Actually, it was.
Oh,
I was really young, probably 21, 22, and I was driving a uninspected, unregistered with weed little truck, and he was like scanning license plates or something.
how much weed?
What's that?
How much weed?
Not a little. It was like a little dingbat, I think they were called, or something like dugout. That's what they were called. Yeah. And he actually threw it away. It wasn't even on the records or anything. I spent like, I don't know, 12 hours in jail. And then they just scrubbed the whole thing, as long as by the time my court date happened, I had all the paperwork straightened out with the car. So
nice.
Yeah. You ever been arrested?
Yeah, a couple times. Just for pot. It was like right before it was decriminalized. One time.
Really? Just before?
Yeah. It was like 2008 or 9.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they caught me with like a blunt.
Did they decriminalize? Did you? Are you going to be a free man now?
No. Well, so I got like my parents helped me out and paid for a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I got like it was basically like it wouldn't be on my record on quarries or anything.
Yeah.
If I just stayed out of trouble. And then during probation, I got arrested again. But yeah, and so like the probation officer made me do a drug test because it got thrown out because they pulled us over for no reason. I was with one of my buddies. They saw a known drug dealer like just come up to our car and walk away quick, and then they arrested us because they saw that, but that wasn't probable cause to arrest us. So that's when my lawyer came in and was like, okay, if he passes a drug test, we'll drop that.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. Yeah, but that's the thing is like if you have good lawyers. But actually, like I said, I didn't get in any trouble any time. So that brings up Biden and him decriminalizing all these people.
What a good move!
It's a play for the
yeah, vote. But I mean, it's still okay. You can't like be like, oh, that's such a shitty move. Those people deserve to be in jail.
Well, it was a joke, but there's always sort of a kernel of truth in my joke, in my little tweet. But like my thing, nobody liked it. But my thing is just, if you're in jail, you probably did something to warrant it. Like you didn't just like have like a couple joints in the back of your car and that's why you're doing time.
Let's say they even had an ounce of weed and they got pulled over in a state.
I don't believe that's who he's pardoning. I'd like to see. I'll tell you what you're going to see is a lot of people.
It was single drug offenses
back in jail.
But it is good that they're looking at the decriminalization. That's good.
I love that. Yeah, of course. Oh my God. I mean, like,
all the help it could.
Absolutely.
Like, I think for ADHD, especially.
I agree. I agree 100%.
I was talking to someone at my work, one of the other supervisors, about that's how I can sleep is because it shuts my brain down.
Yeah, well, that's I mean, like that's how they tell you. They tell you to get your medical license. Like if you ask about it,
I told my psychiatrist, like I'm open with her, and she's like, I could give you something for sleep, but if this is working, I don't see there's no harm in it.
See, my psychiatrist is the exact opposite. I told her, she's like a recovering alcoholic psychiatrist or whatever. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, see, mine's like this sort of like, well, she worked for my clinic with my population for a long time. Yeah. And so like and this was before she does her job as a psychiatrist at a hospital and then moonlights at clinics that need help. But she worked at our clinic, which is really specialized mental health and psychiatry. So like she's one of the chillest psychiatrists, and until she retires, I'll never have another one.
Yeah, speaking of the industry, it seems to me, being that I am a client in the industry, and my wife is as well. I don't think she'd appreciate me talking about it. But why are all the websites so shitty? Like, is your website as shitty as the rest of them?
No. Go to my.
No?
Well, I don't know if I want. Yeah. But offline, I'll show you it. It's top notch.
It's nice, is it? Yeah, like the one.
We have like almost like a 4,000 person workforce.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's one in this area. It's one of the biggest ones.
Cool. Well, don't give too much detail.
Yeah. Well, like who's watching?
No, I know. There was some people in there, and there was finally some people in the chat. This is the first time I've ever seen anybody in the chat. Although it was hit the post screaming at me or you about.
He wants us to get into some war or something.
No, I bet you. Now I remember what Colostomy was yelling at me about. He was yelling at me about the weed thing. I made that joke, and I think I said to him. I responded back to him. I said, my heart really wasn't in it. I was just bored, and I was trying to get attention. And my therapist tells me that it's not attention, it's appreciation. So enjoy that. I've yet to figure out the difference.
Oh, Cameo said Kirk looked comfortable with Joey. Good rundown. I want what Zig is on. Hit the post. What up, fam?
Nobody likes him. Oh, Zig is on. Oh, I thought he said. I was reading it. I thought he said. I don't want Sig on or something like that. That's funny.
Like he's like he knows I'm smoking something.
Yeah. I got
you. So what are your big? We can go offline now, if you want to talk.
I like to go. Oh yeah. It's good timing. So let's wrap it up then.
Oh yeah. So our next book, we'll probably have.
We'll be starting like the next time we get together.
Yeah, give me the rundown of it. What's it about? Otis.
I wanted to get. Not tonight. I wasn't thinking about it, but a couple weeks ago, I was trying to get the Twitter guy center wrong on to talk about it because he had just started it himself. I haven't had a chance to read it. Like I said, or I've said before, it's called Chaos, and it's about the CIA, about I believe the Nixon White House, but it's definitely about the 60s, 70s, hippies, drugs, and politics. And some of the what looked like the research for the book is in some blogs that I'm going to try and find that I read a few years ago, just about the Haight-Ashbury area and sort of like what was going on and sort of this confluence of like these almost guru hippie people that were popping out of there and this drug industry. And then all these people wind up 20 years later as, politicians and scientists. And then, I don't know if he gets into this, but the blogs that I was reading about all this, then their kids wind up becoming these school shooters and stuff. And it does, like, I don't know if the book, and again, I don't want to step all over the book or where it goes at all. I have no idea. But the blogs that sounded like when I read the blurbs on the book, the blogs I read, that's where it all led, is like these kids, like, for whatever reason,
Oh,
it sounds interesting. It really sounds very interesting. And I know Visionless Dave said that he was interested in the book, and hopefully he'll come on, especially once we get
I might have to not be on if Visionless Dave wants to come on. He thinks
it's not like you too?
Yeah.
Well, he's cool. And he said
he is cool. Yeah, I like
and
him.
he said he liked the book. And then, like I said, I'd like to have Senator Wrong on probably a few times with the book.
Yeah, cool.
I think he'd have a great perspective on it. I believe he was a political science major in college. He went to the.
It sounds like an we need an expert.
Yeah, exactly. And he went to Saco 4 with me.
Oh, Saco 4, nice.
So yes, we will go offline now. It was wonderful, and thank you guys for joining us in the chat room. That's new.
Yeah.